it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to the empowered harmonizers. And I want to zoom in and focus in on a very important topic, and that is chaotic thinking and feeling and behaving after you have experienced a relationship with a covert narcissist or a psychopath for that matter. And when we talk about chaotic behavior, it is emanating from a certain dysfunction or an incongruency between the body, mind, and spirit. In other words, the head is overanalyzing, thinking too much, rapidly thinking, and the heart is not knowing what it's wanting. In other words, the connection and their communication between those two aspects of you are not in congruency. They're not focused. They are not in the same groove. They're not in alignment. They're not in the right order. So you have this sort of chaotic thinking or feelings of crippling sadness, crippling post-traumatic stress syndrome, lack of self-esteem, lack of being able to participate in relationships without social anxiety, feeling like there's something part of you that's missing, something part of you that's broken, feeling like you're stuck in the past or living in some sort of part of the future, which you have just is a looming uncertainty. And this results in very chaotic thinking. And it's very much like a cluttered room. If you don't see kind of the gestalt or the feng shui or where things are in the right place, things are in a disarray, things are chaotic, things are everywhere, and you're not able to see things very clearly. So the feelings are very much, and your thought patterns are very much akin, like in the same manner, in that if you don't have positive, orderly direction thinking to your thoughts, you don't have positive self-validation, you're not able to have those pieces fitting in together, you're going to result in this sort of overthinking, ruminating. Your mind is overanalyzing, and your heart is trying to get your attention. So the answer to congruency is going to be in calming your hyperactive thoughts down, your hyperstimulation, and the use of all those defense mechanisms which keep the chaos in play. And generally it stays there. Any sort of dysfunction stays there because there is a payoff. A payoff meaning there's something that you're getting out of it that you are not aware of, or maybe you are aware of. In other words, maybe you're being numbed out. Maybe you just will live a mediocre life and forever be blaming somebody for it. So that is your payoff. The payoff mean that you're just angry all the time and stifled. And so this can be the payoff. So the payoff can mean that you don't have to take any action. You're stuck in the I don't know what to do phase. So the chaotic thinking is very much like you can't take one step in front of the other. You can't put one foot in front of the other. And you need to be able to make time to get and find your positive, orderly direction thinking, which I call pod thinking, where you're aware of what is positive to you as you assign meaning to it, and not as necessarily as anyone else assigns meaning to it. In other words, they might say, you look horrible today, but you might feel great. Or they might say, you look pale today, but you feel wonderful. It's winter where you are. This is your natural color. Or they might say, she's, you sure look this and this and this, or why are you wearing these shoes? Or you should only wear those for good occasions, and yet you want to be wearing those. So it is really about your internal drive, positive, orderly direction thinking, and knowing what is positive for you, and then being able to develop that and not really have an external judgment, which you are trying to constantly compare yourself with, such as is the dynamic that is set up when you're in a covert narcissist relationship. Because there's always an outside parameter or a yardstick or judgment or measuring stick with which you're constantly trying to compare yourself, and that leads to chaos, that leads to judgment, that leads to uncertainty. In other words, you never quite know if it's going to be good enough. You've got the constant plaguing uncertainty, and this is definitely experienced in the relationship with a psychopath as well, where you don't really know where you stand. You don't really know if you're in or out, if they're in or out. You don't know where you stand, and you're waiting for them to make the next move on your life. So much is hinging on another person's behaviors or decisions or what lie you're going to find out. So this is how all the chaos is created. It's all the overthinking, all the overanalyzing, all the overthinking and hypercritical patterns which are set up, and then the patterns of chaos tend to repeat and reinforce themselves. So it starts to get more pronounced. It starts to become worse. The depression might become worse. The rumination might become worse, just because the patterns want to keep going. They're just going to keep going in one direction until you interrupt the pattern through positive, orderly direction thinking, and then being consciously aware of it, but then practicing it again and again and again until it becomes automatic for you, the new automatic. Then you're going to constantly feel like things are chaos. Things are not what you want. You're going to feel unfulfilled. Things are scattered. You're missing something. You're losing out. You're missing this person. You're missing a part of you. You don't feel human. You feel depersonalized. It's because things are all, chaotic, because you're still living in that hyper analytic neocortex of the brain, and it's severed from the limbic system and that primal drive coherently. So like you're taking one step forward, but then the overanalytic mind, which is oftentimes set into motion by a highly critical or judgmental person, such as a covert narcissist, because generally these people are always in competition. And for there to be a competition, there has to be a loser. There always has to be someone for one to go up against. And you found yourself to be that person or have participated in that, then that oftentimes is going to lead to that constant external locus of control, where there's always something outside of you trying to tell you if you're good enough or define you for you, where you kind of feel like you're living your life for someone else other than yourself. And a lot of people, they tend to, in the name of love, or this is what a father has to do, or a mother has to do, or et cetera, and then it just goes on way too far, and it leads to this total dysfunction and chaos. So realize that the covert narcissist cannot give you that which what they do not have. So if they don't have balance in their life and a congruency through their body, mind, and spirit, and then being able to have empathy and then validate your feeling and help you work through things or be there for you to have normal discourse, then how can you exist in that simultaneously in proximity with them? It's just the law. It's just the law of correspondence. You're going to eventually be on the same wavelength with someone who you're married to or engaged to or live with. It's just going to occur. And so if you feel this pulling away, it's the resistance, because there is a danger. There is a hazard. There is a dysfunction there which is not in your best interest. So that's why, you see the shrieking away in dysfunctional situations, is because your body knows best. Your body knows if it's good or bad. Your body knows if you should be with this person or not. But yet, whether your mind wants to get in groove with your body, if you want to wait for years and decades, then it's just going to proliferate and it's going to get worse. So that is the that's the cause and disruption that occurs with chaotic thinking and the aftermath or effect of being in a relationship with someone like a covert narcissist or a psychopath. It is your buddy. Peace and harmony with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.